How's it going, John?
Oh, it's going well tonight, Eric. How are you?
Good. Things are good.
Good. All right. Recording a day late this week. Thank you for your understanding. I am.
Hopefully you're feeling better, especially for your road trip coming up.
I'm gonna go better, I think, but it might just be the drugs. But actually, I think they should all be out of my system at this point. Yeah. I'm definitely got a cold
on a road trip.
Yeah, well, I hope so too. But it doesn't matter because regardless, the road must go on. Yes.
Is it everybody ready? Everybody excited?
I would say excited. Yes. Ready by tomorrow. Nobody's done any packing yet. But my wife remembered that when our last trip, her suitcase broke, like the handle, and it was kind of a frustrating, awkward bit getting the suitcase around an airport with a broken handle. So, new suitcase acquired, and we're
nice.
We're ready.
Okay. So do you have the road trip planned? Because we're going to share the same road on Saturday. Because we are heading to Grandma's house.
I had not realized that. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
We have the first 2 days-ish planned.
All right.
Meaning that day one.
I know Friday, right?
Okay,
you're
so
doing
2.5 days.
Legit coast to coast, right? You have 2.5.
Correct.
So
correct.
I know you're going out to the coast tomorrow night to start actually at the Pacific Ocean.
That's right. So so tomorrow the farm sitter comes here at 3:30 to learn the ropes, and as soon as she's done, my wife and I will go down to the airport and pick up a car, come back home, pick the boys up, drive to the coast, grab some sand in a tin because we figured we'd carry it to the East Coast, and go to dinner. And then come back home and go to bed. So day one of the road trip will basically be back at home, or day 0.5. And then Saturday, we intend on getting up early, like packing the car Friday night, getting up early Saturday, and making it to Salt Lake City.
Okay. 12-hour drive.
Yeah, 12-hour drive.
We will be less than a half an hour from wherever if you're going to stay in downtown somewhere.
Exactly.
We'll be a half hour from you.
I actually have not reserved a hotel, but I should. I will probably do that tomorrow. And then day 2, I think the intent is to make it to Laramie, Wyoming, I want to say, my wife said. Which is, she said, 11 hours. So basically, the first 2 days are going to be long. And after that, we'll see. So, but we have no plans beyond that, other than...
You have a flight home, I assume, though.
I do have a flight home.
You do have
an
end place to stay.
Yep. I have a flight home on Sunday. and I forget if I said this or not, but our... hope/intent is to see the space shuttle that's in New York City. Because we've seen 3 of the 5 space shuttles, and if we can make it to New York, and so there's one in New York City, and so if we can make it there, that would be awesome. It's actually supposedly on an aircraft carrier too, which is awesome. So, which is
I didn't know that.
Kind of a I don't think that's the thing that probably most people go to New York City for, but, and we don't know that it'll happen. We're going to get there and it'll wind up being closed for whatever reason. It doesn't, but it doesn't matter. It's not about, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey.
That's right. Well done.
So,
yeah.
So we'll see. And so I will take my microphone. Hopefully we will record with me somewhere in Midwest.
Let's see. If Sunday is Laramie, Monday, Tuesday. You're getting into the East Coast, because I guess Monday and Tuesday are not going to be as interesting either, because flat.
I know.
Of the middle of the country.
But we're kind of hoping to like spend some time in Chicago if we're not running ahead of a storm.
Yes.
So I don't know, because we rented a minivan. So it sort of also depends on weather. We might have to go farther south go south on 15 before heading over the Rockies, but we'll see.
Okay.
The intent is just a road trip. So we're like on our way to White Castle. We'll see what happens. So anyway, it'll be fun. So anything else happened fun for you this past weekend?
It was a lovely weekend.
It really was. It really was.
So I went out on walks. I actually took a break from work one day and just went outside and went for a walk. And, it was, so that wasn't just the weekend, whatever. It's been very nice weather. It started raining again today. As you hinted at, the being chased by a storm is possible. So
yeah,
that was mostly my weekend, was just kind of relaxing, enjoying the weather, getting some tasks done. My oldest daughter is prepping to attend SakuraCon, I think, in Seattle in a couple weeks. And so she's sewing herself a costume. She's building her own it looks super cool. When she gets done, I'll have to take a picture and share it, because she's got foam inserts. I'm using the wrong terms, but I mean, like, it's not just material. I mean, it's a full on shoulder thing. I don't know, and wrist thing. I mean, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Helped her with a few sewing things, although she has outpaced my sewing skills. So we actually had to send her to her aunt for some questions that I did not know how to answer on sewing.
You're like, it goes inside out, and then you have to stick it back right side in.
Straight lines or buttons? I got you covered. You're trying to sew gloves? I'm not going to help you out sewing gloves. Sorry.
That's a lot of lines.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Anyways, so yeah, it was great fun. Nice, pleasant, calm, relaxing weekend.
All right. I have two other minor updates for you. The first of which is that the trebuchet was all together but the sling. So the actual sling to fling is left as a exercise for the reader. So the student and his father, who was off work this week, we put everything else together and did a dry firing on video with no sling, and everything stayed together.
Good.
And it worked.
Nothing bent?
Nothing
that's too long a delay.
Bad. It clearly could have needed a little more support for the bar. So, but they went home with that homework too, and so they're going to finish it and send me a video and see how it goes. Because this coming 2 weekends I'm gone, and then the project's due, I think, like the next week. So, I think. As of now, I'm going to term it on a path to success.
Good.
So
nice.
That was cool. And then the second thing is that I was really frustrated. I know that I told you that so many of my beehives died. And
yes,
so
I was sad for you.
So the one is still alive and doing quite well. So I actually poked my head into it this weekend because it was so nice. It was over 60 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
And then my original bee mentor, I had emailed him a couple weeks ago and was like, "Will you come do a hive autopsy with me, just to see if make sure I don't have any disease or like why did these?" And I left two of what I thought were my stronger hives untouched so that I could go through them with him. So he came over and we did those, and he's like, "Well, the good news is no disease, and it wasn't my fault. He was saying.
Okay.
So both okay, good, but doesn't really help me for what do I do differently. So,
but they didn't swarm or leave or anything.
One of them must have. One of them must have left before winter. And I'm like, but I know I saw activity in the late fall. And he was like, no, it's totally robbing. Because there were no dead bees on the bottom of it at all. There was no cluster on the inside. Okay. And there were frames. There were still resources in there, but there were frames that had been clearly robbed out.
Okay.
So he was like, basically they started robbing it in the late fall, didn't wind up finishing out, but after the the hive must have swarmed away. So anyway, and then my super strong one the one I'm most shocked about, he's like, the queen must have just failed. How old was she? I'm like, she was at least 2 years old. He's like, you clearly had brood in here as of January. Tons and tons and tons of dead bees on the bottom. He's like, probably she, just died for some reason, and the hive just went, lost morale and all perished. They both there was so much food in both of them. I was like, anyway, but I will be ordering 2 more hives from the bee chapter.
Let me see. They're nukes.
Nukes.
Did I get it right?
Yeah, you did.
Is that the right term?
Nucleus colonies. Yes.
Pat myself on the back.
I will be ordering 2 more nukes because why not? And then so we'll see. Okay. But that means a year of probably no honey. Because you don't really plan on getting honey off of new nukes,
right?
But we'll see. Whatever. It's all good. One year at a time, evidently. So anyway, all right. Cool. How about a topic? What'd you bring me today?
So I don't know if you saw this, but this is a mobile phone, and specifically Android, and specifically certain Android phones with certain modems. So,
the Wi-Fi chip?
Yes. Google Project Zero discovered a vulnerability in certain Android phones with a specific chip, which include the Pixel 6 and Pixel 7.
Oh, brutal.
Some Samsung phones, some Samsung, other Samsung devices. So they have this chip in it that has this vulnerability, and the vulnerability allows code execution in the baseband of, and now I'm saying things that I'm on the peripheral of actually understanding what they actually all do. But right, it's the part of the chip that allows the voice calls work reliably. So it's basically root access. And they found some bugs in this chip which would allow a skilled attacker to take control of the device and affect the device silently and remotely. And what this article I have is, it's basically, this is the voice over Wi-Fi or voice over LTE, so that you can turn Wi-Fi phones into, or so that you can use the Wi-Fi calling function as well as the
cellular
voice over the data part of the chip, not the cell part of the chip, to use them as phones. And most of these new phones are in much more widespread use because, especially in the US, we got rid of supporting older 3G and 2G frequencies. So everything's on these newer frequencies that these newer chips use.
Yeah.
And so there's a bunch of security vulnerabilities and patches that are being put forward. The recommendation from Google, I have a Google Pixel 6. I got a notification in the mail suggesting I turn off Wi-Fi calling They didn't tell me where to find it. I had to Google to find out how to turn off Wi-Fi calling because it's kind of buried and hidden. Clearly, this is a feature that they want you to use because it's less expensive for them if you're using your home Wi-Fi to make phone voice calls.
Oh, I see. So they make it tricky or hard to turn off.
It was it wasn't like just find Wi-Fi calling. I had to dig into some things to find where to turn this off. So basically that's what I wanted that's what I saw this week was this Android phones, including Google's very own Pixel 6 and 7, which are the latest and greatest Google phones anyways, that could potentially be taken over and compromised quietly, 0-day, and remotely, just by virtue of you answering a call or using a call or a connection coming in with no user interaction. The attacker only has to know your phone number.
Essentially zero click.
Try to call you. Yeah. So anyways, the article is Ars Technica. There's a link to the Project Zero report that you can read, which is a lot more detail. But
wow.
I think probably by this time patches will have gone out, but it was a little unfortunate, an unfortunate one because it's a hardware vulnerability, and those are not as easy to patch as software vulnerabilities.
Yeah. Yeah. Voice over LTE, huh? It's not entirely clear. It's possible to turn off voice over LTE on many models.
Mm-hmm. So.
Well, that's exciting. I wonder if, it says there's watches as well that use the same
chip. Yeah.
Chip. Exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting.
You can have a watch with a
everything is software. Everything is software. Even hardware is software. Even hardware is software. It's just a little firmer. Okay. So I brought two topics today, but both kind of consumerish. The first is a data leak of Lionsgate. I didn't know that Lionsgate had its own streaming service, but evidently they do.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it also said in here that it's the what did it say? They said Canadian American.
Oh.
Lionsgate Entertainment Corporation, the Canadian American entertainment company operating the platform. So, I don't know.
I've seen Lionsgate films. I didn't know they had
I have as well, yeah.
Maybe it's only available in Canada.
I have no idea. I thought I subscribed to practically every single streaming service there was.
Here's a new one.
And didn't watch any of them. No, that's only partially true. Anyway, so the point here is that for an undisclosed reason, and actually an unresponded to reason, since it says as of the time of writing, it has yet to provide an official response. They had an ElasticSearch instance available on the open web with no creds required.
Oops.
And so it says, quote, the Cyber News research team discovered an unprotected 20 gigabytes of server logs containing nearly 30 million entries, the oldest dated May 22. They exposed subscribers' IP addresses and user data concerning device, operating system, and web browser. The logs also leaked the platform's usage data, typically used for analytics and performance tracking. URLs found in logs contain titles and IDs of what content users watched on the platform, along with search queries entered by the users. So, all sorts of user behavior analytics available here. And then, that's the data in the article. The rest of the article is a little bit about speculation and there's a bit of data, I guess, about Lionsgate themselves and the growth of streaming after COVID.
Right.
But the concern obviously is, this data, especially with IP addresses and browser and device information, can be combined with other data to, build a better picture of targets, users, by a data aggregator and make you easier to target either for other vulnerabilities. Picture something like the Plex attack that you mentioned a couple weeks ago for the what was that in the context of? Oh, that was in the context of the LastPass vulnerability. But clearly, there's 30 some million records here that can be combined with other data sources to provide good targeting data for users of this service. It's all, there's nothing else. There's nothing else really data-wise in the article. I expect that, there might be a response by the company at some point, and a disclosure, but let's see, this was dated 22nd of March, so I guess that was yesterday. So we'll see. Maybe there'll be a follow-up.
Okay.
My second one, have you ever watched Linus's Tech Tips on YouTube?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
It's a great channel.
Yeah. He decided, surely not because anything got hacked, that he would delete all of his videos and upload a couple of Elon Musk cryptocurrency scams.
Sounds perfectly reasonable.
Absolutely.
Like
Why not?
With a very large following and lots of revenue based on people watching videos would do.
Absolutely. So clearly the channel was hacked, but clearly also, and there wasn't any data in this, I would absolutely expect them to have implemented whatever security controls Google had available.
Yeah.
Like, this is not, the macrame channel or something about, with
ice carving.
Yeah. Like, beekeeping.
Beekeeping.
Like, knowledgeable computer person. And there's a quote in here, the only quote from Linus was regarding the YouTube channel hack. We are on top of it with Google's team now. Everything should be locked down, and we are getting to the bottom of the attack vector with the hopeful goal of hardening their security around YouTube accounts, and preventing this sort of thing from happening to anyone in the future. So who knows? I mean, maybe they, their password was password 123. But I'm going with probably not.
Bet not.
Yeah.
I think the keyword in that phrase is their security, implying, look, YouTube,
you messed up.
And if you look at some of the other, like it says in the article too, some other channels have been hacked as well. Similar type channels.
Yeah. 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 Well, anyway, I expect more info about this at some point in time too. This was just linked today. So, let's see what actually happened. So it said that, the channel was renamed, Linus's Tech Tips Temp under the temporary handle, deleted most of its videos, although those are being restored. And then it featured 2 streams featuring Elon Musk talking about cryptocurrency. I'm sure these are legit instead of deepfakes. I don't know. Of course. One named OpenAI ChatGPT-4, the game-changing AI technology, while the other Linus Tech Tips and Elon Musk's special crypto giveaway. Elon Musk is giving away crypto. Eric, all you have to do is give him your wallet ID and password, and he will send you 20 Bitcoin.
And I'll get free Twitter Blue.
Exactly.
That was the tip for me. That was the thing that pushed it over the edge for me. Was
the $8 a month instead of the 20 Bitcoin.
I think it's now $7 a month.
Oh,
but yeah,
now on special.
Blue. Yeah, now on special.
I have not been paying attention. I continue not paying attention to Twitter. So
yeah,
whatevs. Okay. But one other fact about this that I found a little ironic, and I'm interested to see how this ends up, is that as they're restoring videos, there are videos being restored that have titles like "Do not use," "Do not upload," that probably had bits on them that said maybe not published.
Right.
And so I'm guessing the metadata for the videos is not at the same place where the video backup is. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that might be interesting. So we'll see what happens.
Okay.
All right.
Well, you want my something fun?
Hit me up. Tell me something fun.
All right. So my something fun is a Trung fan story Twitter thread. Speaking of Twitter.
You're going to make me go to Twitter?
You don't have to. I'll read it to you. So this is a story about Albert Einstein meeting Charlie Chaplin. And apparently in 1930, Einstein and his wife were visiting the U.S. Einstein and his wife, Elsa, were visiting the U.S. They were giving a mini tour, and they were going to give a lecture at the California Institute of Technology. And on the trip, Einstein met the head of Universal Studios, and Einstein just had one request. I would love to meet Charlie Chaplin. And apparently, Universal Studios arranged the meeting, and they became good buddies and were hanging out. And in 1931, Chaplin invited Einstein to the premiere of City Lights. I think Chaplin's last film, or close to the end of his film career. And there's a photo in the Twitter link of Einstein and Chaplin together. But the best part is the story that was overheard was Einstein told Chaplin, quote, "What I admire most about your art is your universality. You don't say a word, yet the world understands you." And Chaplin replied, "True, but your glory is even greater. The whole world admires you, even though they don't understand a word of what you say." Cute.
That has got to be apocryphal. That's
so. Yeah, if you read down, it is some dispute over what it is. The Nobel Prize, official Nobel Prize, Twitter account has a slightly different exchange, and in the Twitter feed, there's some quoteinvestigator.com apparently goes and digs into whether he actually said this or the other. So, but in general, that was probably an embellishment of what was said. But if you read the other ones, it's close enough that it makes, as my grandpa always told me, never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Right.
So, it's still kind of fun. So I saw that, and that got me reminded of when I was a kid. My dad and grandpa would bring home 8mm films. And he had this old 8mm camera. You could check out 8mm films from the library. And they were Laurel and Hardy, the Marx Brothers, Harold Lloyd, Buster Keaton, the Keystone Cops. I remember as a kid watching on the wall silent films, and one of them was Charlie Chaplin. And so it just kind of brought that whole little Twitter thread I stumbled across yesterday, kind of brought back a little hint of nostalgia to my early childhood, with memories of me and my dad and my grandpa watching these black and white films on a 8mm projector.
Wow.
So good fun. That's my something fun.
Yeah.
Go out and check out charliechaplin.com. Look at all the stuff he did. Still one of, the great geniuses, or any of the old stuff. Some of it doesn't hold up as well today as it did in the 1920s, 30s, but a lot of it's still fun to watch.
Yeah. I gotta say, I mean, other than maybe a few snippets online, I haven't watched anything like that for a lot of years.
Yeah.
A lot of years.
Yeah. So, and what's fun is a lot of this stuff, speaking of YouTube, you can find the whole things on YouTube as copyrights expire on a lot of these things.
That's exciting.
Fun stuff.
I do love things as they come out of copyright.
There's my something fun.
All right. Well, I chose a B something fun because I have a number of people, including my wife, who anytime something comes across their feeds that are about bees, send them to me, which I appreciate. But this is a study. The link I'll put in here is to an article on Science Alert. But this is about scientists have figured out how honeybees learn their waggle dance moves. Which is pretty cool. So they mention the Greek historian Herodotus reported over 2,000 years ago on a misguided, forbidden experiment in which 2 children were prevented from hearing human speech so that a king could discover the true unlearned language of human beings. Sounds like torture.
That's
like, not sounds like, yeah. That is torture. But
that's going to work.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so this is basically some scientists that did this with honeybees. So, or something similar. Because,
okay.
The honeybees have a very complicated form of communication. With that dance, the waggle dance, they tell each other where to find resources such as food, water, or nest sites. Mm-hmm. And the dance conveys the direction, distance, and quality. So it says, essentially, the dancer points recruits in the correct direction and tells them how far to go by repeatedly circling around in a figure-8 pattern centered around a waggle run in which the bee waggles its abdomen as it moves forward. Longer waggle runs communicate greater distances, and the waggle angle communicates direction. For higher quality resources, such as the sweeter nectar, dancers repeat the waggle run more times and race back faster after each waggle run. So there's basically like 3 bits of information there. So the bees can, I'll keep reading here, bees can therefore make 3 different types of mistakes: pointing in the wrong direction, signaling the wrong distance, or making more errors in performing the figure-8 dance pattern, what researchers call disorder errors. So the first 2 mistakes make it harder for recruits to find the location, and disorder errors make it harder for recruits to follow the dancer. So they basically took bees and they measured a control colony that was a normal colony, and they created a colony or colonies that had bees of all the same age that couldn't watch or follow an experienced dancer. And then they measured the first dances of each of these splits. And it says the bees that could not follow the dances of experienced bees produced dances with significantly more directional distance and disorder errors than the novice control bees. And then, but when they tested the bees later, after they had more experienced foragers, the bees who lacked teachers produced fewer errors, but the others were about the same. So basically, They have to go figure it out themselves.
I want to know how they tested the bee. Did they hold interviews with the bees afterwards? Did you get to the right place based on bee number one's, I kind of want to know, and I kind of don't want to know. How do you test? Oh, that bee was wrong. They gave me bad directions.
I didn't catch if they said that in here. They didn't actually explain that. Thank you for like pointing out the error in the article.
For ruining your
appreciate that. It might be in the original paper. I didn't actually click through to the paper.
I would expect if it's a scientific paper, it would have, the scientific method described and written down because, it's science,
of course,
not screwing around.
Well, it's written down. Yes.
Therefore, science.
Science. Anyway, so the point is that science must go on. And studying honeybees. So there you go.
Very nice.
I lots of pollen being collected this weekend. I saw it myself. It was good. It was good.
Nice.
Just fingers crossed they can live for like another month until the weather's totally past us and like they'll be booming. That's my hope.
There you go.
We'll see.
And then you'll have 2 new nukes, and they'll have neighbors and friends, and they can hold house parties.
Exactly.
They could waggle dance for fun.
It'll absolutely. Why not?
All right, John.
All right. Have a safe trip this weekend. I will try and have a safe trip next week.
I will see you on the road on Saturday.
We'll have to share location, see where you are. All right.
Yeah. All right.
Sounds good, Eric.
Have a good night, John.
I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.